Welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy my stories. The sharp slam of the front door echoed through the house as Mark entered, an air of tension accompanying him. Stella, seated on the living room couch with a book in hand, looked up in surprise as her husband tossed his coat onto the hook with more force than necessary. "Mark, what's going on? Why are you so upset?" Stella inquired, setting her book aside, concern etched across her face. Mark turned to face her, his jaw clenched. "Stella, I've had a long day at work. The last thing I need is your constant nagging about money and bills. Just shut your mouth and sit on maternity leave like you're supposed to." Stella's eyes widened at the abruptness of his words. "What do you mean, shut my mouth? We need to talk about our finances and plan for the future. I have a say in this too, you know." Mark scoffed. "Your say? Your job is to take care of our son and manage the house. I'm the one bringing in the money, so leave the finances to me. Got it?" A heavy silence settled in the room, broken only by the distant sounds of their son cooing in the background. Stella felt a knot tightening in her stomach, a mixture of anger and frustration at being dismissed so callously. "Mark, we're a team. We should make decisions together. Maternity leave doesn't mean I lose my voice in our marriage," Stella said, trying to assert herself. But Mark, already heading towards the kitchen, waved her off dismissively. "I don't have time for this right now. Just do what I said." And with that, he left Stella sitting in the living room, pondering the sudden power shift in their relationship and the challenges that lay ahead. As the days melded into a ceaseless routine of diapers and baby formula, Stella found herself immersed in the challenges of maternity leave. The demands of motherhood left little room for the professional ambitions she once held, and she often found solace in moments of reflection. One evening, after putting her son to sleep, Stella retreated to the living room with a cup of lukewarm tea. The budget spreadsheets lay scattered on the coffee table, a silent reminder of the financial discussions she yearned to have. Mark, engrossed in his work on the laptop, seemed oblivious to her contemplations. "Mark," Stella ventured cautiously, "we need to talk about our expenses. I've been going through the budget, and I think we should revisit it together." Mark glanced up, his eyes tired. "Stella, can it wait? I have this deadline, and I need to focus." Frustration simmered within her, but she took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. "Mark, the rent from my apartment is helping cover some of our expenses. It's essential to factor that into our financial discussions." Mark furrowed his brow. "Rent from your apartment? I thought that was your personal thing. We don't need to rely on that." Stella sighed. "But it's not just my personal thing, Mark. It contributes to our family finances. We should consider it when planning for the future." He shook his head, returning to his laptop. "Stella, you're on maternity leave. The last thing I want is to burden you with financial stress. Just focus on taking care of our son, all right?" Their conversation hung in the air, unresolved. Stella, nursing her tea, couldn't shake the feeling of being sidelined in a matter that concerned their shared future. The strains of their financial disconnect loomed larger as she grappled with the complexities of balancing motherhood and a desire for financial transparency. Stella's own apartment, a haven of independence, became a source of contemplation as she navigated the complexities of her maternity leave. The rental income from her apartment not only provided a sense of financial stability, but also fueled her belief that she could contribute to the family's well-being. One evening, as they settled into the living room, Stella broached the subject with Mark, her voice laced with the determination to be heard. "Mark, we should talk about our finances. I've been thinking about going back to work or maybe continuing my freelance projects. The rent from my apartment helps, and I believe it's a valuable asset for our family." Mark looked up from his newspaper, an eyebrow raised in skepticism. Stella, we agreed that you would focus on taking care of our son. Going back to work defeats the purpose of you being on maternity leave. But Mark, Stella persisted, the rent from my apartment allows us some financial flexibility. I can contribute without compromising our son's well-being. Mark sighed, setting the newspaper aside. Stella, I don't want you stressing over money. We're doing fine with what I bring in. Let's not complicate things. Stella, frustration evident in her voice, responded, but it's not about complicating things, Mark. It's about being partners and sharing responsibilities. My apartment is part of our financial picture, and we should acknowledge that. Mark leaned back, contemplating her words. I just don't want you to feel pressured or overwhelmed. We can manage without it. Her gaze unwavering, Stella asserted, I appreciate your concern, Mark, but I want to feel like an equal partner in this marriage. My independence matters, and so does my contribution to our family. As the conversation lingered, the subtle cracks in their financial understanding became more apparent. The tension hinted at conflicts that lay ahead, challenging the very foundation of their marriage and the agreements they had once thought were unshakable.